Welcome to the Sweat Simple podcast. I'm Brooks, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you learn how to eat and exercise for real life, not just those perfect moments. Because let's be real, there is a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change, but I'll also be sharing practical, real-life application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. Today, we're talking about what to do if you never follow through with your meal prep. And I hear this so often that no matter how much you meal prep, no matter how much you plan, no matter how much you want to follow through with it, you have a hard time actually eating it in the moment. Maybe you eat it for a couple days. Maybe you eat it for a couple weeks. Obviously, different meal prep, but hopefully, otherwise that would be a little disgusting, and we might need to talk about that. No wonder you don't want to eat it. But maybe you can follow through with this hardcore meal prep plan for a short period of time, but in the moment, eventually, whether it's Wednesday of that first week, whether it's after 3 weeks, you always end up turning to the drive-thru, ordering takeout, or worst case scenario, just random snacks, which isn't really helpful if you were meal prepping for a specific reason. Like if you have been meal prepping because you are trying to lose fat, you are trying to hit your nutrition goals, and you've always heard, I need to meal prep, I need to eat this planned meal, then turning to the drive-thru, turning to takeout, turning to random snacks, that's not helpful because that's not really supportive of your goals. I do want to give the caveat though that meal prep is never required. I never, well, for my clients at least, I can't speak to what you're doing, but I never require my clients to meal prep because for some people, meal prep is really not helpful. I am someone who does not do traditional meal prep. I am not cooking for 5 hours on Sunday and dividing all my meals into containers. That doesn't work for my current lifestyle because I actually have time to be at home and to cook dinner, and I enjoy doing that on a nightly basis. So meal prepping would actually be more frustrating for me because I don't like spending hours in the kitchen. I like spending 30 minutes in the kitchen. So I just want to give that caveat. Meal prep is never required. So if that's the main reason you're not following through right now is because you just feel like it's something you have to do, but it's not actually serving a purpose, it's not actually helping you reach your goals, that's the first thing that we got to figure out. I do recommend prepping for the week in some way. That can be really helpful in following through. But this does not have to look like full-on meal prep. What this could look like is figuring out what do you need to prep, what do you need to plan in order to help you follow through, in order to help you be more consistent with your nutrition goals. So maybe it is prepping a protein that you can throw together for lunches. Maybe it is prepping dinner for the whole week. Maybe it's prepping dinner for a couple meals. Just know that meal prep doesn't have to look one way. And step number one is really figuring out what is the prep that you actually need to be doing. And if you have figured that out, you know the type of prep that you need to be doing, and you're still not following through with it, that's what we're going to talk about today. And with almost everything we talk about, the reason that you are not following through with your meal prep influences how we want to handle this moving forward. I always, laugh because it's so hard sometimes to create content for the quote unquote masses because the way that I coach and the way that we look at health and fitness from a more behavior change and psychology based perspective is so individual that so much of it comes down to, well, it depends on why we're doing these things in the first place. So we're going to get into that a little bit, but that is the first step. We need to ask ourselves, why are we not following through with the meal prep right now? There are a few different reasons that I see coming up most often with the women who come to work with me. One, do you just not enjoy it? Are you eating and planning meals that you don't enjoy? Especially because a lot of us if you have come from this meal prep mentality, you have probably been exposed to diet culture and you might have an idea of what you think your meals need to look like. So maybe you are eating things like chicken and broccoli and rice and you're not really enjoying it, but you think that that's the food that you should be enjoying or that you should be eating. So you keep making it and you keep forcing yourself to eat it. If that's the case, obviously we're not going to follow through very often because we don't enjoy what we're actually eating. Are you tired of eating it midweek? That could be another reason that we're not following through with it. Does the drive-through just sound better? Is takeout a reward for a stressful week? Is stopping by the drive-thru on the way home a habit? Is it something that you weren't even thinking about? And then the second you see those golden arches, all of a sudden something triggers in your brain and you say, oh yeah, I need that. I can't, go and get dinner. All of these reasons could be very valid reasons why we're not following through. So things like we don't enjoy it, we're getting tired of eating it, we have some sort of habitual cue around getting drive-through, around ordering takeout. Maybe we're turning to these foods because of comfort, because of a reward, could be for any large variety of reasons. And when one of my clients came to work with me, takeout was a reward. Takeout was her comfort. And this is actually where we started because she thought that she just didn't have enough willpower, that she just didn't want it bad enough. And that's where a lot of you might think you're falling into. You might be getting really frustrated with yourself because you feel like you just don't have enough motivation to stick with it. But the truth is that there is a reason why you're constantly turning to takeout, why you're constantly turning to the drive-through, why you're constantly turning to snacks. And it is much deeper than you just don't have motivation. That drive-through, the takeout, the snacks, those are offering some sort of solution. Those are offering some sort of comfort for you. So like I said, for this client, getting takeout midweek, it was a reward, especially if she had had a stressful or busy week already. That takeout was comfort. It felt good. So in order to get her out of this cycle of ordering takeout every single week, it wasn't as simple as, well, we just need to make meal prep that you enjoy. That would work if she was not eating meal prep because she didn't like it. That doesn't work if we're using takeout as a reward. Instead, we needed to solve for that. Why is takeout acting as a reward? And what do we want to do? How do we want to navigate that instead? So, step one, we need to know why you're not following through with meal prep so that we can figure out what we want to do about it. And like I just described, some of these are easier than others. If we don't like what we're eating, very simple solution. We find more meals that we're excited about. We maybe go to Pinterest. We use AI to give a really specific prompts. Like that can be a more simple solution. When we're talking about things like going to the drive-through, turning to takeout for other reasons, like the comfort I described, like having a lot of I don't want to feelings, having a lot of uh, feelings of questioning your own motivation. This is when those deeper behavior change skills come in that we would build together in one-on-one coaching. So when we're not following through, not just because we don't enjoy the food, this is when it starts to get complicated. This is when we really need those deeper behavior change skills because we have to work through that deeper reason. If we don't work through that deeper reason and we just keep going back to, I just need new recipes, I just need to try something different, and that's not the thing that we're actually needing to solve, we're going to stay stuck because it doesn't matter how excited we are for the recipe. If we are turning to takeout because takeout is comfort, takeout is a reward, takeout is relaxation, it doesn't matter how excited we are. We're always still going to turn to the takeout. So we need to solve for that piece instead. So I don't want to leave you hanging. That is really one-on-one coaching is where we do that work of helping you follow through and helping you work through these deeper things. But I don't want to leave you hanging. So I'm going to walk you through an example. So let's say you always stop by the drive-thru after work and you honestly don't even think about it until you're driving by and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. I should go to McDonald's. Like you all day long at work, you weren't thinking about it at all. You were like going to have your meal prep and then you're driving by, you see those golden arches. You're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to pop in real quick. What's likely happening in that situation is that you have an automatic cue that's triggering in your brain to stop at the drive-thru. So because you have stopped at the drive-thru so many times on your way home, your brain has created a behavior pattern around it. And now when you see that physical alert of the drive-thru of the Golden Arches, your brain immediately goes to, oh, I got to stop in. Even if you hadn't been thinking about it at all, it is a pattern that has been created. So, in order to stop this habit, we need to break up the cue. So, we need to figure out, how do we go from seeing the drive through to immediately pulling in and stopping? There are a lot of different solutions, and we would have to figure out what works best for you. But could you try taking a different way home that doesn't have you pass through the drive-through? So is that an option? Is it an option to not even give ourselves that cue? Another option is, could we try sitting in that feeling of wanting to go to the drive-through but not stopping? So sitting in the discomfort of saying, oh yeah, I want to stop at the drive-through. I really want those French fries, but not doing it. That's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable, but is that something we could practice? Is that something we could try? Maybe we're creating some sort of if then plan. So if we go drive, past the drive through and we, decide to stop, then I will get a pop instead of my Midwest is showing pop. If I get, I will get a pop instead of food. That way, we're starting to break up the pattern a little bit because we're not getting food. We're getting something else. We're getting something that we don't typically do. So there are lots of different options. We would have to figure out what works best for you. Those are just a few to help you get started. But how can you start to practice breaking up the behavior pattern so that eventually it's not going to be automatic to want to stop and turn in every single time this desire pops up? We're removing that cue so it doesn't feel like immediately I see the Golden Arches, I have to deviate from my plan and go get the drive through. So, first, we want to identify why we're not eating our meal prep in the first place. Is it doesn't sound good? Is it that we're getting tired of it? Is it that we have one of these like automatic cues around the drive through? Is it that we're using the drive through or takeout as a reward, as comfort, as something else? We need to identify that first. Then, based off why we're not eating our meal prep, we want to determine which strategy or behavior change skill would be most helpful in overcoming this. So, like we talked about, is it that we need to break up the behavior pattern? Is it that we need to learn how to reward ourselves with something other than food? Is it that we need to learn how to not turn to food for comfort? Like, there could be so many things depending on what we're struggling with. And that's what we would dive into together. But in general, if you know why you're not following through, but you aren't sure on that second piece, like you don't know what the behavior change skill is, you don't know what the strategy would be, this is when one-on-one coaching would be the most impactful. So you can apply in the show notes or shoot me a DM on Instagram at sweat.simple to figure out where to start. I would love to help you work through this so that you are getting out of this cycle for good. Every week, every 3 weeks, you're not giving up on your meal prep. You're truly learning how to start to follow through. That's all I've got for you guys. If you have any questions, as always, shoot me a DM. I always love to hear from you guys. I will chat with you all next week.